Hi, I'm Tom Eddinger,
And I'm Jane Eddinger.
and we're the new owners of 2915 West Highland. I work at Marquette University, and one of the reasons we purchased this property was because it's just over a mile to Marquette, and I'm looking forward to either walking or biking to work for the rest of my career there.
And I was a biologist for a while and became a stay-at-home mom. And our kids are out of the house, so we're empty nesters. And I'm picking up leather crafting, and I make leather handbags and leather totes.
So, a beautiful piece of property. They don't make houses like this anymore. A great neighborhood. We're hoping that we can return it to part of its original luster and enjoy living here.
So Tom came to me one day and said, "I need a project," and we found one.
So again, just a gorgeous piece of history here. You can see the master stairwell. Fortunately, probably the most intact part of the house, which is good news because it would be hard to replace this. Um, I wanted to buy the house. It was in great disrepair. Jane saw.
And oh, we should talk about how we almost lost it because somebody else got their bid in. They accepted somebody else's bid first, and
Right.
Tom was really sad for about 3 months until they didn't get their loan. Their
Fell
loan
through.
fell through, and we were next in line. And several people approached us afterwards and said, "Can we buy it from you?" So it was no.
Right. So lots of work to be done, but fortunately, Jane saw this and said, I want it, and the rest is your problem. Make the rest look nice. So, so when we saw this property, we also saw an ad for it when it sold in 1923, and it was listed as a nice, moderately sized house, 4,500 square foot. Figure that one out. Unfortunately, 4,500 square foot of disaster. And it turned out to be a bit of a challenge. So the city owned the property. It was foreclosed property. It would have been abandoned. We had, I'll call them observatories. There were major holes in multiple parts of the roof in the attic where you could just look up and stargaze on a clear night, or you could get rained on a not clear night.
And Tom said, "I can fix that."
I can fix that, exactly. The entire house had damage everywhere. You can see behind me some of the evidence. So here's an example of, there's a bedroom above this, which is, I believe, the gentlemen's smoking room originally. The radiator broke a pipe and the water was leaking down and damaged all the plaster in the lath. Ultimately, that got down to the floor here, which you can't see. The hardwood floor, the subfloor, all the joists were completely rotted out. I had to gut all of that, put in new floor joists, new subfloor, and when I get done fixing the plaster, then we'll replace the hardwood floor.
And to me, that was overwhelming. When we had to go all the way down to the studs and plaster and dust everywhere. My brother came and helped and got us better masks to help us breathe and not inhale all that moldy dust. And but I didn't participate as much back then because that was too overwhelming for me.
So ultimately, the unfortunate thing is the water damage, if you can keep a roof intact, which this one did not have. So I did not know, and there's no way to know until we got in here, but I thought, the plaster was damaged, we take it down, but then we pull out the plaster and we find that the studs were rotted out, so we had to do a lot of reconstruction of the framing of the building to get it before we could insulate. There was no insulation in the building, so we completely re-insulated it. Basically, it's got entirely new mechanical. So heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electricity are completely new in the entire building now. In order to get that stuff in, we had to get access to it, but the trade-off there, the good thing potentially of that was we found a lot of this rotten wood, so we were able to repair it, because otherwise the plaster in some places looked like it was okay, but behind it was just a skeleton of what was left of the framing work.
Some people, there's a chapel on the side of the house that they built in the 1950s. The archdiocese owned the house, and so that was in a lot of disarray also. But now it's going to be a theater room, and on the far side is a concrete
Raised
raised
platform.
concrete platform, and it looks like a great place to have some home concerts that we could arrange sometime, which would be fun.
So hopefully, we've made a lot of progress. There's a lot of sweat equity. There's a lot of money equity we put into it, but we're really looking forward to moving in here. We think the neighborhood's going to be wonderful. The house is going to be very nice. I don't know if we can get it back to its original luster, but we're hoping to get it close, and that's our goal, to move in and enjoy the house and the neighborhood.